Bali yung sa PCA ba, yung sa Philconstruct, isa na lang o tatlo pa rin?
You're referring to the Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao?
Yeah. Isa na lang.
For this year, puro virtual muna except that July, baka hybrid. Meaning virtual plus physical sa SM Mega Mall. And then, sa November, kung meron ng vaccine talaga, if things go right, baka physical na dun sa World Trade saka sa SM. But definitely, may mga virtual pa rin because we have to cater to the needs of other countries na hindi makapunta. Diba?
How's that gonna work for those guys?
Delete. Na-file na yung bill ng SIAP.
Pinahal na nila?
Oo.
Ay, okay lang. Ha?
Oo, sabi nga okay lang. Nag-file si Tambunting ng Paranaque. Okay na, mahaharang naman yan.
Oo, doon na lang harangin sa loob.
Sa may repeal of the law, ang dami.
Problema talaga yan, Bar. Once it's put down on paper, parang Biblia na yan. Ang hirap talaga.
Yun naman, it will go a round of deliberations.
Siguro gagawa na tayo ng position paper for PCA, for Cebu contractors, Davao contractors, PICE.
We have to come up with a workshop muna on what to do. Schedule ko na lang yung workshop with Andy.
Parang may groundswell kayo.
Lahat ng mga organizations will have to give their own position paper. Hindi lang PCA.
Madali yun?
Sa amin, problema yun eh. Pag humihingi kami ng pera sa gobyerno, sinasabi namin wala kaming pera, hirap sa which is totoo naman eh. Makikita mo sa numbers. Tapos pagkausap mo yung mga Cebuano sa mga Zoom, ang dami naming trabaho, walang ganito ganyan. Tapos sabi ko, akala ko wala kayong pera. Ang sasabihin nila, siyempre, sasabihin namin yung para ma-uplift daw yung industry nila sa loob-loob ko. Facts on the ground, don't the paperwork. Hindi ko na maintindihan.
Moderators, panelists, we will now open the webinar room to all attendees. So last 10 minutes po before the show starts. May we ask you to kindly turn off your camera and microphone for now. Thank you very much.
Welcome back to the third day of the ASEAN International Furniture and Furnishings Show VX. Our forum for this afternoon will be about recreating a sustainable demand for the real estate and property market today. Please welcome our panelists. Trustee of the Philippine Constructors Association and President of Datem Incorporated and Datem Homes, Architect Leslie Espiritu Villanueva. Third Vice President of PCA and Vice President for Marketing of Pacific Paints, Boysen Philippines Incorporated, Mr. Ruben Cueto. First Vice President of PCA and Senior Advisor for Business Development of DMCI, Engineer Ronaldo Elepaño Jr. Chairman of PhilConstruct Events, Exhibitions and Conferences Corporation and Managing Director and Treasurer of Datem Incorporated, Engineer Emilio Tumbocon. And the President of PCA and CEO of WDA Incorporated, Engineer Will Decena. With us are the moderators, Mr. Barry Paulino, Executive Director of the Philippine Constructors Association Incorporated, and Mr. Eduardo Zuluaga, Chairman of AIFFS VX. Let us give them a big round of applause.
Hi, Bar. Hi, everybody. As usual, there's always technical difficulty when you need it to run perfectly. I'd like to thank everybody who's visiting today, who's viewing our final forum. I'd like to also welcome my always kasangga, Barry. He's all the time my drinking mate, but these days, not so much. Bar, how are you?
Good, Duque. Senior Duque, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'd like to thank all of our panelists for gracing this event. This is the last of the series for the ASEAN International Furniture and Furnishing Show. This is a first for us in the industry. We're trying to get all 10 ASEAN countries to have a joint show. It's proving challenging, but we're getting there. Thanks to last year's PCA's leading the way. So without further ado, this gathering is basically to find out where the real estate industry is going to go and what's it going to appear like looking forward. So the first question I'm going to ask is, what is your projection? This is for anybody. what is your projection that the Philippine real estate and property will be headed in the near future? Non-infra. Anybody can take it.
Siguro, sir, I'll start with a generic statement that we have to realize that the demand for space in general will always be there. The type of space may change depending on the trend, but there will always be a need for it since it's part of our physiological and safety needs. It's up to us, the developers, the contractors, and even the designers to fill that demand and frame our projects in a light that is most appealing to our buyers during a certain time. And that's why this forum is very fitting because this is where design and marketing trends come in. Maybe another panelist can answer regarding the specific direction that you see the real estate market going to.
Well, maybe I can comment. There are actually three considerations that we have to take into account. One is that the past 12 months was really a major disruption to the industry. Now, if there's a major disruption, I think what will happen is that the market supply and demand mechanics will change. Customer preferences will change to adapt to the new normal environment. And because of that, the movers and shakers of the industry should be in touch with what's happening in the market. Okay. Now, projection, I think the growth will be there because the basic demand, the Philippines is basically in a sweet spot. So, we have a very young demographic population portfolio. So the demand for spaces, for residential, for furnishings will always be there. The only problem is that there will be a change of preferences, change of market needs. So the person who will be able to identify what those changing market needs is will be able to capture that opportunity once the economy recovers. Thank you.
June, you want to say something?
Yeah, Duque? Duque?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd just like to add also, I just want to reinforce what Leslie said, that we still expect the real estate to be among the first industries to bounce back in this post-pandemic. No? The demand is still there's still high demand, both investors and end users. No, and we could say that property remains to be one of the most stable investments out there. That's from our point of view. Thank you.
Doc,
Yeah, Will, go ahead.
I agree with Leslie's idea. The demand is still there, but the problem is the imbalance of distribution of wealth. What I mean is supposed to be the buyers have a lesser capacity right now to for their own disposal of their money or wealth. No? So hopefully in the next 2 to 3 years, when the economy will have a rebound, then the market will be there.
Ruben, you want to say anything?
Yes, sir. But there is a decline in terms of demand for office spaces, retail spaces. Don't you think that it will, in effect, decrease the demand for spaces? And this is, I think, directed to my fellow panelist, Leslie.
Yeah, the working from home instead of from the office.
Yeah, and exodus of POGO workers coming out of our locators here. They are giving more space, vacant spaces for offices.
Was Pogo the Pogo market planned for, or was it just it just popped up because there was space that our business space available? Anyone? I was referring to the Pogo that Ruben was talking about. That while it's a strong market, was that in the roadmap or was that planned for, Lilith?
Well, the POGO phenomena was really happened once we started accommodating them here in the country. And the market was very fast to adapt to their needs, to the market needs. So you see an upsurge of POGO offices and all of that. Now, I think what I'm saying is that we have to be close to the ground to know what's happening. If this is a permanent disruption that some of them have left the country, or this is a temporary disruption. So we don't know the final answer to that. But what is very important is we have to be close to the ground to find out. If we say this is a permanent disruption, they will not be coming back. It's so easy for real estate developers to reconfigure their offices. Even the retail spaces can be reconfigured to logistic centers. But what is really important is how these players can adapt to the change. Of course, when there's a drop in the demand, the supply should also be constrained a little bit, because if not, values will go down. So I know there are players in the industry is very adaptable to all these changes in the market. But I think what I'd like to stress is right now we are literally living in a VUCA world. What is VUCA? V is volatility,
Uncertainty.
U is uncertainty, C is complex, and A is ambiguous.
Ambiguous.
All of those 4 dimensions are present now. So the person who accepts that we are living in a VUCA world will come out the winner out of this situation. But if you still maintain what you were doing pre-COVID and you say this is still the way to go, you may have to reconsider your strategy. So it's really the one who will come out ahead of this is the one who can adapt to the changing environment quickly.
Duque, Duque,
So,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
related to the statement of Sir Lilith, may I ask the second question? No, pre-COVID, the construction industry was doing great, and demand for real estate was high. Now, is this still the case? I guess it's no longer the case, no, but is there a shift on the types of projects in demand right now? Maybe I presume that residential houses is one of those.
Yeah, before you elaborate, yung nga what Lilith was saying na dito ka nadapa, pero hindi necessary na dyan ka babangon, di ba?
yes.
Correct. Now, what is the shift on the types of projects that you're doing now?
Okay. So the shift, there will be definitely a shift. Because again, as I've said earlier, there is a major disruption on customer preferences because of the new normal environment. So residential will always be there. I will agree that it's still a growth market, provided people are more, the confidence level in the economy is back. But the preferences may change, because if the work from home will be something that we have to live with moving forward, there is really no urgent requirement to be in the urban areas. So there are some developers who are saying that the development of residential units in the suburban area for a lot and house, because people now are looking for open spaces because of health considerations, etc. That might be a way to go. I'm not sure. I'm not saying it's the way to go. What am I emphasizing is for the players to read the market changes closely. The opportunities will be there, but it might be different kind of opportunities. Okay, so I think that's the more meaningful uh, way to look at the environment. And we still do not have a crystal ball, which is the definite change in the market. But this is evolving. This will evolve. How fast we can get to herd immunity will change the market preferences. How fast can we get the vaccines out there? How fast will there be variants so that we have to take the vaccine every year? We do not know. So the very important thing now is to be adaptable, to quickly adapt to the changing environment. I think that's where the opportunity lies.
Thank you.
June Elipanyo was saying about your experiencing defaulting on the people who are buying their condos because they're out of jobs. How can you elaborate on that, June?
Well, from our experience, as we are selling these condo units, we recently experienced a rise in defaults. No? But with the defaults, we can easily turn it out for other buyers who are ready to buy the units. No? So in effect, for us, the developer, it's not really an impact on our cash flow because we can easily turn out the unit. But I like to add up to what what Lilith started on the urban living and the tendency to go outside. In our company, in our real estate company, we got already reports that there are really renewed interest, no, for both residential and actually leisure properties, especially outside the urban places, no. In fact, I experienced that, and I think Ruben also, because we both have a place to stay in Tagaytay. That usually Tagaytay used to be a weekend place for people like us, no. But now it was the reverse. The weekend place for those people who have properties in Tagaytay is now Metro Manila. They stay longer in Tagaytay than in Metro Manila because of the environment, the space. They feel more safer there. No, I guess even if the vaccine comes in, or everybody gets vaccinated, the idea of having an open space, living in an open space, would be there, no, and there will be a demand for that. That's my take on it. Thank you.
Well, thank you there. Wait.
And sir, if I may interject, connecting what Sir Will mentioned about the financial capacity of the end user, we can see probably an uptick in the demand for foreclosed properties. Negative as it may sound, since there is less demand now for commercial and bigger spaces, for bigger office spaces, and the end users have less capacity to fulfill their payments, there will be a large supply of foreclosed properties, which some developers or some investors can take advantage of. And the important and one more trend that developers can also look into is a blank slate or a clean slate. So land is still going to be very much in demand, since they have like a blank slate or a blank canvas to design their properties in. Thank you.
Yeah, for us in the furniture industry kasi is pag natapos na si Ruben at si Will is a very infamous fit-out contractor. So, well, how do you see it panning out for on your side in the construction industry for the guys who do work inside the buildings? Where do you see it going?
In terms of trend, Sir Duque,
I'm,
in terms of
I'm referring to Will Desena
Yeah,
about
yeah.
the
Actually,
if he's working, may pag-asa kami sa furniture industry kasi merong maglilipat doon sa bahay na yan, merong bibili sa amin.
Actually, Doc, the market of our furniture and lighting suppliers are those who renovated their houses to fit in their home office and study rooms for their children. Actually, there are a lot of those, no? Practically all houses now who has two, three children studying, they have to separate the rooms, renovate. We have a lot of market for that segment. But of course, there are a lot of condominiums also ongoing, but not that much, no, for the condominiums.
They're connecting to that, if I may add to what Sir Will said, we've seen the rise in home renovations due to the increase in people who work and study from home, like what he said earlier. So there is an uptrend in the demand for home office furniture. And in terms of space, people, of course, want wider, more functional spaces. But if they do not have that, like in condominiums, I think multifunctional furniture is preferred. So maybe there can be a shift going to that trend in multifunctionality.
Duke, may I ask this question, Duke, instead
Go
of John
ahead.
answering this? You know, the Philippine furniture industry has always been an outward-looking industry. Everyone hoping to export to the US or Europe or elsewhere. With the present situation, do you think events like this, ASEAN Furniture Show, Manila Fame, or the Philippine International Furniture Show, should actually focus more on the domestic and neighboring markets? I mean,
Well,
the focus should be in the local.
in our industry, we are definitely uh, doing the necessary. So looking at home muna, dito muna tayo titingin. Like I said, the freight component that of uh, of the Philippines, moving products around anywhere in the world is expensive. So and as far as the ASEAN countries are concerned, is they are looking at us, we are looking at them. Kasi the ASEAN region is 650 million people. It's twice the population of the United States and two-thirds the population of Europe. So since we have no more visas, we have no more trade barriers, shipping to sending something to Davao or sending something to Malaysia or Jakarta or Bangkok should be something that we look out for because it's just 5 days away by sea. So yun ang pinaka ano namin eh. Our problem now is just how to survive. I'm sure the some of the realtors that have their living is selling units. The more units they sell, the more furniture will go into those units. So that's why we're very interested in the construction industry. You were saying that how long does it take you to actually file for the application and the paperwork just to dig that hole in the ground to build the building? John?
It's with the, in fairness, no, I mean, with the ARTA and all LGUs are trying their effort to shorten the permitting, the permitting time frame. No? So they're getting shorter now. They're not yet there, but they're trying their best also. They're trying their best, Duque. But I remember, Duque, first time that I met you, I don't know, a couple of years back, and it was also regarding this furniture show. This same question was asked to us, no? And I told everyone that, yes, we should look at the domestic market, no? It's a big market. The only problem is you got to reinvent yourself or redesign your product to fit the domestic market because the export market is quite different, no? And probably now it has also changed, no? And remember, IKEA is already here in the Philippines. So this furniture, whether we like it or not, people will be influenced by this, no? Traditionally, we Filipinos tend to keep their furniture a lifetime, as you know what we discussed. It becomes a heirloom for us, for most of us, no? In fact, in my place, I still have the furniture of my parents, no? But the thing is, with this new product, which is quite, it's not new here, it's not new elsewhere, no? In Scandinavia, where they started this, they've been doing that in the 70s. And they've been changing their furniture almost every year, no? So I guess everybody, as what Lynette was saying, you know, we have to change, no? If we don't act to the change, then, well, it's just too bad, no? You might not survive this new environment or this new normal.
Yeah, Ruben, who is a collector, has something to say about that, about furniture.
Ruben.
Yes, sir, Duque. We don't have a secondary market here to use furnitures. There is a small segment, but it's not as widespread as in the US, where they can buy secondhand furnitures from thrift stores, from antiques, from flea markets. In here, we just keep our furniture until they are totally worn out for garbage, as throwaway. If we only have that secondary market here, I think a lot of people will change furniture often because the problem is how to dispose of the old furniture when you want to buy one, as you said, and there's no buyer. And
Yeah, it
there's
becomes
no facility.
it becomes extremely difficult to move forward. Eh. But we are always asked by government about the impact of IKEA on our industry. Uh, it was like when China started bringing in their furniture into the Philippines. We could not understand why their prices at retail were our prices in cost of material pa lang eh. So it for that particular segment in terms of our industry, we could not supply the Filipino market anyway if that was the price point that they were going. So when government asked us what we would do, because there was a movement in our industry to to prevent the entry of items that are very low priced. But if you look at the other side of the coin, why would you want to deprive other Filipinos of the luxury of getting furniture made in Scandinavia or in IKEA, or if they want to use furniture that they can throw away, that's okay. But I think the furniture industry in the Philippines will survive for the what tawag ito, the carbon footprint. Kasi like you said, Ben, we don't throw away furniture. Dude, I can relate with you because my house is full of furniture that doesn't belong to me. It belongs to somebody that I cannot mahirapang kalaban eh kasi patay na eh.
That's
And
true.
then if you throw it away, doghouse ka.
Pero Pero I think, Sir Duque, the important thing also for furniture manufacturers here, they need to remember that IKEA has a different target market from you. The audience of IKEA are those who live in smaller spaces, or those who live in temporary spaces, like those who rent, or those who live in really small condos, or or on a behavioral aspect, those who have smaller children, since
Yeah.
mas prone
Yes.
to damage yung gamit nila sa bahay. So, IKEA is a temporary solution, but they have a different target. They have a different audience from the local manufacturers. So, what local manufacturers can do is that you shift your marketing, or you shift your how you talk to your consumers to make it more prime or more premium, like sabi nga ni Sir, heirloom type of something that you can pass on, something that you can be proud of, or something that you can really showcase in your home.
Yeah, we were also. In fact, this suggestion came from PCA. How can the industry cooperate with the realtors who are putting up buildings? Kasi they all need furniture. Ang problema lang kasi is, by the time they're ready to buy furniture, naubos na yung pera nila to buy the condo. But this is the same, Leslie, this is the same problem of most interior designers. They say, my fee is more expensive than the condo. So, nahihirapan sila. So sabi ko, mali yung kliyente mo. Kasi those kinds of clients, diba, it's a market niche. And our industry, the reason why majority is we're considered a sunset industry is our market niche is becoming smaller and smaller, which is the same problem we are all experiencing now, that the market has shifted because we can't talk to the buyer. That's why the virtual component is so different. Because many of you, I'm sure, all of you have websites, and all of you have Facebook, and all of you have Instagram, and all of that. But somebody else is doing the marketing for you. There's a lot of likes. I have so many likes. Ang problema, wala kaming benta eh. So, if that's the case, and when you design a building, it starts from the virtual. You put it in plans. Lalo na ngayon, you can actually see it in 3D. Why can't you market it in the same manner? Na this is what it's going to look like, especially using this furniture or Ascor lighting or something like that. What do you think, Lit? What do you think? The virtual estate.
I think
Actually, some of these designers are now using that, 3D. And it's very appealing to the clients because they can see all the product lines that can be incorporated in the design. I saw one about a week ago. It's really very natural. No? Parang yun na eh. Yung 3D rendering nila. It's being done.
Actually, Doc, for me, don't be afraid to innovate like that using virtual reality glasses. It's like you feel na nandun ka na sa sa commercial halls na physical event, right? And then aided with, let's say, technologically advanced equipment for your mass production to lower your cost, no? Like us in construction, we are using a lot of technology and equipments and software to speed up our construction process.
Yeah, yung sa amin kasi is how do you get this person to buy. Noong una, we were also looking at that the goggles and stuff. The thing is you'd have to transport the goggle from here to the client who's interested in viewing. So he has to be able to do it in the comfort of his home, which is what we are doing now. We are in safety areas having a discussion, meeting, but not being able to drink bar. Kaya medyo, but you know, so if you were to market your products to the ASEAN region, kasi nga, di ba, is it's 600 million people Not just the Philippines, but people who, like you said, in Davao, they were buying to invest. You think Singaporeans will buy to invest, or Malaysians will buy to invest, or those things, but everything is virtual na kasi.
I think, Duque, one comment on that is, what's this? We should accept the fact that right now there is confusion. But when there is confusion, there is opportunity. And we've seen that those who leveraged on digital platforms are ahead today. Those who have innovated in making their marketplace into the digital platform are way ahead today. Look where Amazon is 5 years ago and where they are now. Look where Shopee is, Lazada. They have started this, and because of the change of environment, my feeling is that this is not temporary. My feeling is it will become permanent because this is a convenient way for the buyer or for your customer to make decisions. Before, he has to go from shop to shop, to window shop all the things they need. Now with the mouse and the laptop, we can make the decision. So what I'm saying is that we have to embrace the digital transformation even in the marketplace, even to assist our customers to make a decision what to buy and determining their preferences. I think that's already a fact of life. I don't think, because of the convenience that it gives the stakeholder or the user, I think this will be the direction moving forward. So like selling furnitures and all of that, I think there's a need to reinvent ourselves using this digital platform. And the good part about that is your channels of distribution is not only limited where your physical space is. Your channels of distribution multiply 1,000 times, because anybody who has a access to virtual or online distribution channel can have access to the product you are selling. That's also another upside on that. Thank you.
Duque, there is a
Sir,
question.
Can I add to that first?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Well, like what everybody said, you really have to embrace digital transformation. So, Sir Duque, even if it's there are certain obstacles to migrating to digital, you really have to adapt to the times. However, having said that, what the digital platforms are also having trouble with now is customer service or the human touch. Like what Sir Lilith said, di ba, sila Shopee, sila Lazada, they are purely digital now. But what a lot of complaints are about are they're really hard to reach. Customers have a hard time contacting them about complaints, and even in the selling side, what is easier to sell are those products whose sellers are more engaging, who are more active in answering queries. So I guess it's a case to case basis depending on what you are selling. So for lights, maybe you need to tweak your marketing strategy in such a way that there is a digital aspect of it. You are addressing the concerns of the client for a safe space to view your products. But also, since you said that you are not directly interacting with your customers, they are not also given the right information regarding your product. So maybe there should be a balance between digital and also um, personal in terms of how you market or how you sell your product. In terms of real estate, there should also be a balance to that, since yes, they cannot go to the location to view your projects. But for people who are putting their life savings into a certain property, there has to be a point wherein you really have to interact with them to give them comfort or to further um, convince them to buy your product. It cannot just be purely digital. It can't be purely virtual. There has to be a human touch at some point. So it's a balance, and sellers now have to find that sweet spot in order to get that right balance between the digital and the personal.
Will, saying anything?
Yeah, also with me, especially the adaptability to situation, like the acceptance of products of millennials and baby boomers. No? There's a different taste on that, no? Especially the millennials want more tiki furniture and even lighting fixtures, no? Gusto nila pag pindot pag ano mo, switch ka agad, no? Especially the space they have too small to accommodate everything.
Yeah, well, the it's like our the guys that are selling the cigarettes thingy. Kasi our export industry is based on, if there's volume, most of the exporters are successful. The problem, if they cannot get the volume, it's very hard for us to export. So like you're saying, let see Shopee and all of those guys, they're selling in volume, but they're selling it tingi. Kasi if they're selling it all over the world at those prices, I cannot understand how, sa puhunan pa lang, what we're buying is the small items that we buy, that everybody is ordering from Shopee and wherever, is minsan the freight is more expensive than the item. So I guess they have the volumes there. But we digress, because sa amin sa furniture industry is we follow the construction industry's lead. Because when you guys start building hotels or start building condos, it's normally in the seven floors and up. And while most of us sa aming industry hanggang lobby na lang kami. Kami yung magsusupply ng chandelier, kami yung magsusupply ng furniture. And then when it comes to the units, of course the preference is there for the unit. But I remember one time na I think sila Junyan that they took us on a tour of their projects. And the concept was, all you had to do to sell to the client was give him the keys. Because when he turned the keys and went into the unit, ang dadalhin na lang niya bigas tsaka kaldero. Because the kitchen would already be fitted out, the living room would be fitted out, the bedroom would be fitted out, and everything would be complete. Can that scenario come to fruition? Is that a possible scenario in the future? Anybody?
Okay, that's that's a that is a very strong possibility because actually it's a value proposition coming from the buyer or from the customer. If he feels that the add-on price for all these finishing of furnishings or furniture fixtures is almost the same as if he buys it himself plus the time that it takes that buyer to get this moving. So he might just say, yeah, you just supply all and I just come in. Tapos na lahat. No? That's the one side of the story. So if the value proposition is there for that option, I think that will fly. However, the other side of the story is affordability level. He doesn't want to have it furnished because really that is only what he can afford for now, and he will save first for another year or two for the furnishings. That's a different decision criteria. Even if he likes to have it furnished, but he cannot afford it, he cannot make that decision. So what I'm saying is it can go either. But if the value proposition is saying that really it just comes out the same because the developer furnishing the unit may have value, creating value there because he buys it with economies of scale, correct? While the individual buyer will have to go to every shop, buy it retail. Once he what's this, sums up all his cost, and he might, I mean, to me, the developer's option might be the same or even lower from what the buyer will do on his own. Then the value proposition of that option becomes very compelling. So both any of those options can happen.
I mean, kasi we're in a catch 22 wherein if we're expensive, then we can only afford to be in a condo where there's a sizable value proposition. Eh.
Yes.
So, ang problema naman, if a person can afford that amount of a condo, he'll say, no, I don't want to look exactly the same as my neighbor. I want to be different. So, catch 22.
Yes. So I agree. I mean, the preferences of the customer will be the final arbiter.
Yes, like Leslie was saying that, you know, it's the customer is the one that really sets the direction.
Actually, okay, that's how do you call it, craftsmanship, right? But of course, craftsmanship is a little bit expensive because you have to do it by hand, no? But if you mass produce, then you can lower the cost. No? Like what happens to us maybe around 3 years ago in Boston. No? Could you imagine we bought furnitures for practically 2 rooms and the living room, and it's my first time to do the carpentry works for one day. I all assembled all these furnitures for 2 rooms, no, on my own. No? Of course with the help of one person. What I mean is the adaptability to change. No? So it's like uniform furnitures, no? Easy to assemble, easy to transport, no? And everybody can assemble it. Maybe we can do that also, especially now, as Per June said, IKEA now is already here in the Philippines. Maybe this year it can open all their branch here in SMX.
Good. Anything? Yeah, June, do you want to say anything?
Well, really, it's really, as what Lilith was saying, it's really customer preference, especially the buyer. If he's the end user, some end users, they're quite, they're so excited in furnishing their place. No? for first time, especially the wife. Oh, he said, "Oh, I can do this, I can do that." Sorry, Leslie. It's just that it's the common thing, you know. Others, those who are in a hurry, that's what Lilith was saying. If they can afford it and there's a value proposition, I'll just buy a furnished unit, and I just turn the key, step in, and I'm using it right away. But others say, no, I don't want to be the same as my next neighbor, so I want to do this and do that. No? So it's very difficult, really, to tell. No? Uh, and I guess also we realize your position in the furniture industry, that how do you sell to these people, no? Especially now. Now of course, you said we have this digital format, uh, virtual format, but it takes more than just looking and experience it virtually. I guess the human touch, which Leslie was trying to explain, is still needed there. No? When you start selling your product and convincing people that this product is really meant for you. Probably take a look at what Kenneth Cobonque has produced. No, these products are different. No? I guess every homeowner would like to get one of his pieces, no, as an accent piece or as a talking piece. I don't know, but furniture is, I guess, it is something for me. It's something personal. It is something personal. Some people would like to have a furniture for the rest of their life, the same furniture, as a heirloom. Others, well, they treat it as something necessary, and I can do away with it later on. Change it every year, every 5 years. So it really depends on the customer. Really depends on the customer.
Can I add to that? Looking forward to what we were discussing about the platforms. We mentioned Shopee and Lazada. So when people need something, most of them go to Lazada or Shopee and search what they need on the search bar to see the availability of that item. But for furniture, I think maybe it's more aspirational. A lot of people, like when they're building homes, when they're building their space, it's very personal for them. So what they look to, the platforms they look into are not Lazada or Shopee first and foremost, since they want to build first in their mind what they want the space to look like. So what they look into are platforms like Instagram or Pinterest. And maybe Sir Duque giving maybe that's what you can also try first to make your product more top of mind with the designers and also with the end users. Parang ito yung gusto kong peg sa bahay ko. So they pin you on Pinterest, they like you on Instagram, and then they already see that your brand is the one that is shown there. So they don't have to look for your product or something that looks like your product in other platforms. They immediately go to you, to your chosen platform. And that's the importance of maybe the human touch, or maybe to follow through on that lead. They click on your website, they talk to an agent, and that's where the process of your sales or your marketing process goes to. That's just make
Dukes,
a
Yes.
suggestion.
I have to promote Philconstruct, no, because most of us here are from Philconstruct. Now,
Go ahead, sir.
maybe
Go ahead.
I want to ask our chairman and the chairman of Philconstruct, the president, the chairman of Estilo de Vida, and the chairperson of Technoforum. What was the mindset behind the decision in making this? We were the first to pivot to virtual events last year, November, and it was quite successful. No? Anybody can answer that. I don't have to answer that because I'm the GM of Phil Construct also.
Barry, Barry,
Ruben first would like
Si
to.
Ruben.
okay.
Yeah, I think we have to stay relevant in the light of the challenges to the construction industry. We have to maintain our presence to support the restart of our industry. That's why Technoforum, as well as Estilo de Vida, and as a whole, Philconstruct is very, very relevant to uh, to our startup.
Nice
Again,
experience, right?
yeah.
Virtual one.
Barry.
Yeah.
E-commerce gained popularity, reliability, and reach in the Philippines, especially during the lockdown. Right? Majority of us turn on online marketplaces, online payments for our daily needs and transactions. No? But for me, our events, especially Philconstruct, physical events, will stay. Of course, you have to be complemented by virtual shows. No, why? Because our market is very different. What I mean is, could you imagine tiles, same tiles, but have different specifications? No, so you have to see it on the physical. You have to touch. No, even equipments. No, equipments you buy two tower cranes are practically the same, but you have to check yourself because there are a lot of what do you call this specifications that you cannot see through virtual. So for me it's different concept. Of course, it's for me it's a hybrid. No, we do the physical events and same side the virtual.
Hey, Leslie, what were your experiences having the Estilo de Vida virtual?
Very exciting because we knew that we have untapped the hidden, well, not really hidden, but the potential of the students out there. They are very techy, far more than the usual contestants that we've had at the beginning of Estilo de Vida. So we've really seen the evolution of the designers, in not just in how they design, but in the tools that they use. So it was very exciting also to partner with a technological supplier like CIM, since they were all. We also learned a lot of new features of their products that designers can use to be able to convey their ideas in a virtual platform.
Okay. I guess it's my turn to sum up
Yes.
all the comments. Well, honestly, when we started the Philconstruct last year on a virtual mode, because we've never done this before, and I no other show with a platform for virtual was available then. But then it has its advantages, and of course it has its disadvantages. No, I guess the biggest advantage is availability to the exhibitor and to the visitors. No, because 24/7 you can visit a virtual show, and even after the show, we extended the virtual show. I think another 3 or 4 days. No, beyond that. No, convenience is a big factor, especially nowadays. No, since you cannot go just out any other places without certain protocols. The other big advantage is the data that we were able to get to gather, no? Especially for the exhibitors. This was never done during a physical show, and the data was very instant. Itself, even the hour itself, you get the visitor, his contact number, his email, and you can readily send if your marketing group is quite proactive. You can even send him a follow up already on what product he wants to see or he has seen. A multi product like Boysen has, you can pinpoint which product he took a look and for how long he was looking at that product. Which you don't get out of a physical show, because you cannot put one person to one person and just uh, uh, waiting for him to look at the product. No? And what President Will was saying, touch the product. How can you see the roughness of a tile or the smoothness of a tile? Or for an equipment, how would you be able to see how it works, hear the engine, how it moves? So probably that is the biggest drawback on a virtual show. That's why we are looking now at a hybrid type of a show. Hopefully, the protocols will be relaxed and we will be allowed to come out with a physical show. But we believe that the virtual show will still be there. Technoforum, I guess this is the most quite effective for Technoforum, no? Because before we were, Ruben, if I'm not mistaken, how many shows were you able to do when we had the physical? How many seminars were you able to do compared to the virtual?
We have more participation for virtual
Yes,
than physical. More attendees.
more attendees also, and a cheaper cost for the attendees also.
Yes,
Compared
and we
to
can do
the
simultaneous.
Yeah,
Yes,
we can-
multi classrooms, multi rooms,
classrooms,
yeah, and then
and then
all
the
at the same time.
convenience.
Yeah.
So I guess both platforms have its advantage, no? Although the physical will still be there, no? We still need to as Leslie was saying, the human touch, no? In all this what's happening right now. But virtual is also here to stay. That's what I can say about the forthcoming shows.
Our chairman, Lilith, can
And
you
on
say
that
something
note,
about this?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, my comment basically is what we did last year was basically demonstrated that the field construct team was very fast and agile to adapt to a changing environment, because we did not lose our focus. The focus of field construct was to serve our stakeholders. So even if we know that there is a government mandate that exhibitions is not allowed, we instead of being discouraged and say, oh no, we'll just withdraw and all of that, we move forward and try to adapt to the evolving environment. So again, that is adaptability and innovation in a VUCA world. That is a perfect example on how we change this sort of a confusing situation into a window of opportunity. And this will evolve over time because the environment will keep on changing. And what we can assure the public is that Field Construct will continue to be open to any innovation and adapt to the changing environment so that the stakeholders will still be continued to be served. Thank you.
taking off from that, our ASEAN show does not exist in a void. We're in a region, and then our virtual lobby is the ASEAN lobby, which does not exist. So, do you think there's a possibility, innovative wise, that PCA could be, let's just say, in a virtual hall in October in the Philippines World Expo?
Well, again, what I can say is we're open to all possibilities as long as we feel that is a need that there is a need that we feel fulfill from our stakeholders. I mean, we're open to all of that. No, you're saying making it sort of an international show.
No, because the Philippine Pavilion in the World Expo in Dubai is going to be open for 6 months, in October all the way to March, and since most Filipinos will not be able to fly to Dubai or that, you don't know where that's going to go. But when you go in virtually to visit the Filipino pavilion and you click on, oh, there's a PCA has a construction show ongoing, but it's like the ASEAN, like the Philippines now. Our Philippines pavilion is in the Philippines, but we're in an ASEAN pavilion. Singapore is in an ASEAN pavilion. What do you think are the just more or less count of 1 to 10 in innovation that PCA could take a lead and be in that pavilion for 10
Uh,
days?
well, we have to study who are we addressing. It's the market. It's the opportunity to do that. Will be advantageous to the industry, and we're open. I cannot say we will join or not, but we're open to all these possibilities. But at the end of the day, we'll just have to evaluate it and see if there is an advantage for the industry to do that. No, because again, I'd like to stress we are still in a VUCA world, so I don't have the answers. But we live by the day, and the rule of thumb is we just have to survive, and hopefully we'll be standing tall once we go back to normal.
Amen to that, my friend. Amen.
Look,
So on that note, Barry, meron ka pa?
yeah, just tell everybody that we benchmark our exhibitions or events dun sa the likes of World of Concrete, Conexpo, and Bauma. World of Concrete is scheduled to have theirs this, I think, June, July. So we will watch carefully and benchmark from there because the next exhibition that we will have will be, as June was telling, in July. It's gonna be hybrid, no? Meaning partly virtual, partly physical. But in November, hopefully, when everyone is vaccinated, then we can go full blast on the physical exhibition, like the ones we used to have. So with that, I guess there are some questions, Q&A from the participants. One question was quite a lot of suppliers in the construction industry and real estate agencies have started shifting to virtual, doing e-commerce, doing virtual shows and expos, and having virtual showrooms. Do you see this behavior staying even after COVID? I guess the answer is yes. Anybody can further elaborate?
Well, I think the answer is yes. If it continues to be the benefit of convenience, access to information, fast access to information, and other advantages of going virtual. Because I could already foresee that it is not. It will be an accepted norm even in business meetings to meet virtually, because what is the value proposition there? Everybody becomes more productive. Maybe there will be meetings face to face, very important meetings, but the usual meeting may, I mean, I'm not do not know for sure, but the convenience and the productivity of all these meetings going virtual is a compelling proposition to still maintain this, no? So I think that's something that we have to think about and also observe as the market evolves. This will be evolving. There's no hard and fast rule on how it will evolve, but we have to be sensitive and adapt to the environment.
Another question: what are the effects of Create Bill to the real estate industry, if
Okay.
any?
The Create Bill, the major driver of the Create Bill, I think, is the bringing down of the income tax for corporate, if I'm not mistaken. That's the major driver there, and that is good because that money, that sum of money that's supposed to go to government, will go back to the companies to reinvest in what they do, and you know the multiplier effect on that. So if you're a real estate company and if your tax bracket goes down by, let's say, 5%, that 5% will not disappear. That 5%, they will invest in another project, and that project will have a greater multiplier effect as compared to if that 5% just goes to government for social, for any project, So to me, I'm confident that that will be a boost to the economic activity because the supply, or the money supply, will will be enhanced, and the multiplier effect on the economy will, the downstream multiplier effect will happen. So to me, that's good news. That is and I know that that money will not disappear. It will go back to the economy.
Another question, no? This came from the small players. What are the tips that you can tell us in the construction and furniture industry, especially during this pandemic? I think it's about the business model they have to do.
Yeah.
Small players, hindi,
I think what is
Any
very
tips?
important is to really find out where the market opportunities is in this volatile environment. And then you might want to address a niche. You might want to address a mass market. You might want to address. Then you have to find out your core competence. And if your core competence and the market opportunity match, then it is something you have to seriously look into. But what I advise is that do not say, this is what I've been doing the last 20 years. This is what I will continue to do. That is not a good sign. You have to be creative, adaptable, flexible, and innovative. That is, again, as the saying goes, the only permanent thing in this world is change. So you embrace that so that you will be able to meet all these challenges. Tama ba, Duque? I mean,
yes, sir. Don't be like the farmer who tells government who is sending these Harvard-educated agriculture specialists, alam mo anak, I have been doing this since before you were born. Hindi, kaya wala siyang palay.
Okay. Dukes, any parting words from the panelists? Start with Leslie.
To summarize all of the points I mentioned, you have to listen to your customers. Your customers can be the end users, they can be your suppliers, but it's important that you are able to observe any trends that may come from their behavior and also from their preferences. And that's how you know how to adjust your strategies. That's all.
Ben?
Well, I guess our 1 hour is too short to cover all the topics that we are discussing. But I would like to take this opportunity for more fruitful and focused discussion for the attendees to attend also our forthcoming Team Construct conference, March 25 to 27, and participate in our Techno Forum sessions as well as on the seminars. A lot of these things will probably be taken up also.
Highlighted. June?
Well, I invite everyone to our Field Construct this March 24 to 27, and I hope you would learn something our virtual show there also. And only recommendation, as I said before, when first time I met Duque, you just have to reinvent yourself to adapt to this change. Thank you.
Si President Will.
For me, Barry, we should be innovative, open-minded, adaptability to change, as per Sir said, that especially on technology, and focus also on your core competences, no? Especially the furniture makers, no? You have the designers, branded, mid-market, or generic furnitures. You can choose on that classifications. And again, we're inviting you to our PhilConstruct virtual this coming March 24 to 29. We have a lot of foreign exhibitors coming. So it's really an exciting show. So thank you.
Finally, Chairman Dilit.
Yeah, okay. I will also invite the audience to the coming PhilConstruct. I know you will not be disappointed. The team has been working hard on this virtual show the coming next week, I think, next week. And my parting words really is number one, let us all embrace that this is a VUCA world. That is the reality. So this is a major disruption. The first order of the day is to make sure that you reassess your businesses, and the first order of the day is to make sure that you survive. First, you have to survive. Okay. The next is really, again, focusing on your core competence and the market and the evolving environment. Then be open to change. With that, I think that you will come out okay after all this disruption will be behind us. So thank you for listening to this forum, and hope to see you all again.
And on that note, Barry,
Yeah.
we say
Yeah, I can only say that in summary, the construction industry as well as the real estate, the word is resilient. We will always be resilient. And with that, I don't know about your industry, Duque. We need to communicate every time that we have to with our clients, suppliers, etc. Your industry is different from our industry, so you can have your own parting words.
well, our industry is resilient. We're always innovating, and our show is a cooperative endeavor between the DTI and the Trade Promotions Board, because our participation was sponsored by them, and the cooperation of the 8 ASEAN countries that also do not have physical shows but were willing to join this show in order to look for a different way of talking to suppliers, talking to people, and seeing what's new and what works. So change, we're always adapting to change, especially when you have no choice. With COVID, if you don't adapt to the safety protocols, you die. And I'm a 65-year-old man who already caught COVID this January, and I'm alive, thank God. And I want to stay that way. So, like you said, the first thing you have to do is to stay alive, because tomorrow is promised to no one. So, gentlemen, Leslie, ladies, I wish you all well. And for our guests, thank you for seeing us old guys. Buti na lang nandyan si Leslie. That makes us look really good. And thank you again for attending the ASEAN International Furniture and Furnishing Show. And we hope to see you in all the other PCA events, especially the biggest show, construction show in the Philippines, the PhilConstruct. So thank you and have a nice afternoon, everybody.
Thank you. Keep safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that ends our Q&A portion. Thank you so much for joining our virtual conferences. Don't forget to visit the booths of our exhibitors. The virtual show will be available online until March 18.